When Ernesto Guevara, known to us today as Che, was executed in the jungles of Bolivia in 1967, he was already a legend and a symbol of rebellion, not only in Latin America, but also around the world. Che Guevara's story reads like an epic movie script. The obscure Argentine doctor who abandoned his profession and his native land to pursue the emancipation of the poor in Cuba. As he traveled throughout Latin America, he came into direct contact with the impoverished conditions in which many people lived. Guevara had experiences and made observations during these journeys that led him to the conclusion that the region's socio-economic inequalities could only be remedied by revolution, prompting him to intensify his study of Marxism. He kept notes during his trips, which he made into a book named The Motorcycle Diaries. It was made into an award-winning movie in 2004. In Mexico, Che met Raul Castro, who soon introduced his new friend to his brother Fidel, leader of the 26th of July movement, which sought to remove Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista from power. The two hit it off. Che had been looking for a way to strike a blow against the imperialism of the United States and eagerly signed on for the revolution. Che Guevara was an important player in the Cuban Revolution, perhaps second only to Fidel Castro himself. He was clever, dedicated, determined, and tough. Guevara was assigned to capture the strategic city of Santa Clara. It was the largest single battle of the Cuban Revolution and the last straw for Batista. Che and the other rebels rode into Havana in triumph and began setting up a new government. As one of the few men truly trusted by Fidel Castro, Che Guevara was kept very busy in post-revolution Cuba. He was instrumental in cultivating the relationship between the Soviet Union and Cuba, and had played a part in trying to bring in Soviet missiles. This, of course, caused the Cuban Missile Crisis. But after the excitement and the street parades had ended, Guevara soon realized that being a government official was not for him. His calling was revolution. In 1965, he decided to head to the Congo to support a revolution there. But he returned to Cuba, calling the venture one of his greatest failures. He was unable to duplicate the conditions of the Cuban Revolution. Still wanting to relive the excitement of fighting imperialism in Cuba, in 1966, Fidel and others convinced him that he was more likely to succeed in Bolivia. But from the start, this effort too was a fiasco, and ultimately led to his capture and execution by the Bolivian government. Before his death, however, Che Guevara took long trips abroad as a sort of ambassador of the revolution to improve Cuba's international standing. In the 1960s, he traveled through Europe, Africa, and Asia. He signed a number of commercial, technical, and cultural agreements along the way. Always restless, Guevara left on extended visits to the Soviet Union, Germany, Czechoslovakia, China, and North Korea. He was given a hero's welcome, with people lining the streets to glimpse this Marxist revolutionary. Che Guevara remains both a revered and reviled historical figure, polarized and romanticized in biographies, memoirs, essays, documentaries, and films. Time magazine has named him one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century, while the Alberto Conde photograph of him entitled Guerrillo Heroico has been declared the most famous photograph in the world. Since his death, Guevara has become a legendary political figure, and he remains a symbol of rebellion and revolution.